This is the Cubs Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Chicago Cubs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Locked On Cubs Postcast here live on the Locked On Cubs YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts on Apple and Spotify. The Cubs win 3-0 and split this series with the St. Louis Cardinals, something that 2 days ago probably would have felt like a tall task for this team, but they get it done. Shota Imanaga is back. Michael Busch just keeps rolling. We'll preview the Astros series, and you can find me on all social media platforms at Joe George Radio. Normally, we'd start with the player of the game, the turning point of the game. We'll get to that stuff. What was that at the end of the game there? Daniel Palencia, in no way, shape, or form, is trying to intentionally hit a batter in the bottom of the ninth inning in a save situation. I used to love Wilson Contreras, but what is up with this guy all of a sudden to get that angry? Because, yes, you got hit. He's throwing 102. Palencia hasn't pitched since the weekend. He's throwing gas out there in this outing. For Contreras to be that upset, I don't understand. It's clearly not intentional. If it was intentional, it's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in baseball, but obviously it's not because it's a 3-run game and a pivotal divisional game, and you're trying to split a series. But shout out to Daniel Palencia because I love the end of the game. I love first and second after the hit by pitch, strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. And as he gets that last one, he celebrates, he turns, he says something to Contreras. The bench is clear. Love it. I love seeing a closer with that kind of just like swag on the mound. I absolutely love the end of this game. Palencia out there putting himself in damage. Let's start the actual baseball side of this, right? He has a chance to blow this game for the Cubs by allowing the first two guys on. You need your closer to be able to get out of tough situations. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be pretty. To sort of allow the first two guys on and then to go strikeout, strikeout, strikeout shows you how comfortable he is really in that role. Doesn't let the Wilson Contreras thing get into the back of his head. Tommy Hotoby doesn't even come to the mound to try to calm him down. I know JD and Boog were suggesting that on the broadcast. I kind of expecting, honestly, that to happen as well. But I love it. I love it. There's extra juice now next weekend when the Cardinals are at Wrigley Field. Be wary of Cubs players getting hit. Be wary of Cardinals players getting hit. Be wary of the benches clearing next weekend. But this rivalry, I hate the Cardinals. They're always the team I've disliked the most. More than the White Sox, it's always the Cardinals, number one. I need some juice back in this series. It's been a couple of years. So I like how this game ends. I like what Daniel Palencia does out there on the mound, and I don't quite understand why Wilson Contreras was so upset. His own teammate is on second base telling him to calm down. That's all you need to know about that situation. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get to our Locked On Player of the Game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Locked On Player of the Game today is easy. Welcome back, Shota Imanaga. 5 innings on the mound today, only allowing 1 hit, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. The Cubs only allowed 3 hits in this game. Falls under the 85 pitches. That made sense with where he was at in the count there in the 5th inning. But for Shota to come out there, breath of fresh air. The last 2 starts. Cubs fans, I think we all kind of felt like this was necessary. Now the guys who have been struggling will be on the mound this weekend for the Cubs. We'll see how they do against the Astros. But awesome to see Shota come back to this team. Hasn't pitched since May 4th. Very ironically, the first play of the game is a ground ball to Michael Busch that Shota has to run over to first base and cover, the exact same play in which he injured his hamstring. But he looked back out there, and it's like he never missed a beat. He goes out there, absolutely shoves for 5 innings against the Cardinals. Yeah, you could have more strikeouts, but a team that, again, doesn't hit home runs, that hit a ton against you in the first 2 games. Matthew Boyd and Shota hopefully really getting this thing back on track for the Cubs pitching staff. We just need this to roll over now to some of the other guys. And look, you're playing a team that has the exact same record with you this weekend. Both teams, the Cubs and the Astros, 48 wins. Both teams on pace for 96 wins as we're officially halfway through the 2025 Major League Baseball season. There's a lot of guys in Houston that can hit for power. So this weekend we'll get more into it. They can do damage against guys like Tyon. But hopefully this is just the reset that the Cubs needed offensively with the pitching staff. We'll see what happens this weekend. But for Boyd to do what he did in Game 3 of the series to get it back to a 1-2 series, and then for Shota to come back out there, coming off the injury list, not pitching since May 4th, phenomenal start for him in this one. I think it was everything you could have asked for and more for his first start back. It's huge. The Cubs still need to add 2 pitchers, in my opinion, at a bare minimum of 1 at the deadline. But Shota coming back is the first thing of thinking, okay, this Cubs rotation can get back to where we think it can go when they eventually add at the deadline, or maybe even before the deadline. Hopefully within honestly the next 2 weeks, they can make a move before July 31st even gets here. So great job by Shota today. Also, not just Palencia, the bullpen, the guys we saw out of the bullpen today for the Cubs are the guys that have been pretty much phenomenal this year. I mean, Caleb Thielbar, we'll start there. He comes in, gets 3 up, 3 down in the 6th inning, comes back out to start the 7th, gets the lefty. He's out of the game. So 4 batters faced, 4 outs. He leaves the game with a 2.03 ERA on the year. And then comes Keller. Now, Keller does have 2 walks. So you got first and second. Again, a dangerous situation for Keller, but he finds a way to get out of it. And look, this is Keller and Palencia haven't pitched in weeks, it feels like. A week, basically, for both these guys. So not too surprised. It wasn't a perfect outing for Keller, but he goes out there, he does his job after allowing 2 walks to continue to keep the Cubs at a 2-0 lead. Drew Pomeranz keeps his ERA at a 0.00 with his inning, and Daniel Palencia, again, we talked about him to start the show, but a hit by pitch on Wilson Contreras, and then 3 strikeouts to end the game. And listen to these ERAs. Okay, Imanaga 2.54, Thielbar 2.03, Keller 1.96, Pomeranz, big old goose egg, and then Daniel Palencia a 1.86 ERA. That has been the core, the strength of the Cubs bullpen this year. And they went out there on a day where you're not scoring a ton of runs, and they kept the Cardinals at arm's length at all time, and it didn't even matter because the Cubs didn't need it. Only allowing 3 hits in this game. Phenomenal performance from the Cubs pitching staff from start to finish. All right, we'll take our break here. We'll talk about what we saw from the lineup today with Michael Busch, the fun PCA play that scored a run. Matt Shaw, his day at the plate as well, and we'll get a quick preview of the upcoming series versus the Houston Astros. That's all coming up next here on the Locked On Cubs postcast on the Locked On Cubs YouTube channel. Today's show is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always be talking to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, you can use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order at supplyhouse.com. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every moment, every game more exciting. If you're already following the action, why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? You can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned on the beach. Interesting weekend, honestly, for the Cubs. We don't know who's pitching for the Astros on Saturday. A team that just allowed 1 run in 3 games to the Cubs. So I'm not really sure if I'm feeling the over or the under. I'll probably go with the over in Friday's game, no matter what the number is. The Astros pitcher got lit up by the Angels his last start. We know Cade can be a little susceptible to some runs as well. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, let's talk about what we saw from the lineup today, plus your questions and comments as well here in the chat are more than welcome as always. And we'll talk about pretty much the rest of just everything else we saw in the game. The pitching was phenomenal. We'll start off. Michael Busch hits his 13th home run of the season today, 2 for 4 in this one. He's up to a 273 batting average. Second highest batting average, second highest on base percentage on the team this year. I guess third highest behind Carson Kelly, actually. So he has been on a roll. Again, we've been talking about this for a while, about wanting to see him more versus lefties. My guess is we'll probably see him in 2 of the 3 games this weekend, probably not on Sunday against Framber Valdez, but Michael Busch continues to just go out there and play very well. I mean, he's hitting the ball well. He makes pretty often good plays at first base. He's not like, I wouldn't say an elite first baseman defensively, but he's pretty good. So Michael Busch continues to just rolling with this team. As we've seen a lot of these guys, Kyle Tucker has gotten back. He's on a heater the last 11 games. Right now, we're seeing a lot of good bats from other guys on the team. And with that, even though you don't see the results today, I think we do have to look at the performance of Matt Shaw today and hope that that's also something that's very encouraging. If you think back to the 4th inning of the game? Yes, the 4th inning of the game. 3 singles. Michael Busch, Carson Kelly, Nico Horner. You got bases loaded with 1 out. Matt Shaw comes up. He ripped it to Nolan Arenado. It was absolutely a great contact on that pitch for him. It could have been a bases clearing double. That was a great hit and great contact from Matt Shaw there. So hopefully that this game today, in all of his at-bats, he has gone out there and he hit the ball really well in this one. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come. I think there's still obviously a conversation that's very fair about the immediate future for the Cubs at third base and going to see adding a big time bat to this team that can move Dansby Swanson down in the order, all those things that we discuss as Cubs fans all the time right now. But Matt Shaw, hopefully this is a sign that what we saw, I think the last 2 or 3 days, it can be a sign of things to come for him. It just feels like he's starting to put the bat on the ball a little bit better. He continues to play excellent third base also. So at least you're getting great defensive third baseman from Matt Shaw right now. Comment here from Christopher Cole here in the chat. Busch should be starting no matter who's pitching. I agree. Craig Counsell doesn't, though. So we can all – it's kind of like the Dansby Swanson thing. There are certain times where eventually I just like move off a topic, and I think I'm kind of getting there with Busch and Swanson. It's like, why just keep getting frustrated when Craig Counsell's not going to make the change that everyone else in the world wants him to make? They're going to stick to it. Dansby's going to bat fifth. Busch isn't going to play versus elite lefties, maybe versus any lefties. And it's like, it's frustrating to see that. But, it's one of those where it is what it is at this point. Bay Bears ask, any chance we see Kenta Maeda anytime? So very good in his last start in the minors. That's a good question. I don't know. With Ben Brown going down and Shota coming back, I think Colin Ray, let's see what happens Saturday. Let's see what happens Saturday against the Astros. If Colin Ray gets obliterated again, maybe. Like maybe that's where what we're going to see. More Maeda could come up to this team. That wouldn't shock me if Colin Ray struggles mightily, and that's the move that the Cubs answer with while they wait to make a trade, and Maeda comes up. Because, look, again, he's been good in the minors so far. So I'd be – if Ray struggles again, I'd be very pro that move. Eric asks, am I going to any of the games this week? Yes, I will be at the game tomorrow night. There will still be a postcast. We're going to start doing fill-ins on this. So Sam will be hanging out with you guys tomorrow night after the game. I'll be going to the game on Sunday as well, but I'm bringing my 4-year-old son, so there's no way we're making it 9 innings. So I'll be here on Sunday as well. So Sam tomorrow, and then me on Saturday and Sunday for the show. Let's talk about PCA here. Probably overran that ball in center field, though. Great catch by him. The sliding catch, a little behind him, but he makes a great play out there. And then the play of the day, maybe it is in this one. As I take my notes here throughout the game. At the top of the 8th, the first thing I write is insurance run would be nice. PCA basically gets a swinging bunt single down the third base line, so he's on first base. Dansby Swanson hits the single to make it first and third with no outs. And then as JD and Boog are talking about this, about potentially sending Dansby Swanson here to make it second and third with only one out to eliminate the double play, because they're probably not going to throw through to you because they know that PCA could take off from home or could take off for home. We see the Cardinals throw a pickoff to Dansby Swanson, and the savvy veteran just takes off for second base. And Wilson Contreras, who maybe this is why he was in a bad mood, makes a terrible play. Like most first basemen, like a real first baseman, probably eat that ball when Dansby takes off. And because they know PCA is going to take off for home. Instead, they do a little pickle action. PCA comes in. He's safe at home. I guess it's not officially a steal. I say he stole home, and it makes it 3-0 there for the Cubs. So a very untraditional way to get your insurance run, but they get the insurance run nonetheless. So 2 fun plays from PCA in this one. Kind of just shows the mental mistakes he can cause a team. And he honestly just anything, because I agree with Mark here. Like the pitcher shouldn't even thrown that ball to first base. Like it's the pitcher and it's on Contreras. Like both those guys messed up, but the Cubs benefit from it and they get the win 3-0. All right, quick little series preview here. So both teams, the Cubs and the Astros, coming into this series with a 48-33 record. The Astros have been the best team in baseball in June by record. It's going to be Brandon Walter on the mound on Friday versus Cade Horton. That's an interesting matchup. Like Walter's a young rookie who has given up some big time hits so far this season, but also had very good performances. It's a TBD on Saturday. I'll tell you, unless something happens between now and Saturday, Lance McCullers is going to be the pitcher for the Houston Astros. On Saturday, he's eligible to come off the injured list. Probably won't go deep in the game, but it'll be Lance McCullers versus Colin Ray on Saturday. And then Tyon will finish it up on Sunday versus Framber Valdez. So the only game to me in which the Astros have a clear advantage is Sunday. The Cubs can absolutely win this series. Now, the Astros, again, they're very good this year, like they typically are. The Cubs can win this series this weekend. Kyle Tucker and Ryan Presley are back. They will get a pregame video dedication to them on Friday before the game. But hopefully, the Cubs can take 2 out of 3 this weekend. Any other questions and comments are welcome here in the chat. Frankie said, do you think the Cubs have a chance to be the 1 or 2 seed still? The Dodgers are hot. Absolutely, they do. They're on pace right now. If you're an on-pace person, it's easier to me when it's 50% through the season. They're on pace for 96 wins. That can absolutely make you a 1 or 2 seed in this week in the National League this year. They definitely are capable of doing that. Now, they have some work to do. Because as Seabass says here, not looking forward to Ray and Tyon this weekend. Yeah, you have pitching to add. But if you add pitching, if your lineup can perform the way that we've seen them perform over the last week and not like they did against like the Rockies per se, the Cubs can absolutely be the 1 or 2 seed this season. They're fully capable of that, and they're fully capable of not winning the division. I think both things can be true with where this team stands right now. If I had to wager on it on FanDuel, I would wager on them being the 1 or 2 seed over not winning the division. But everyone views this team a little bit differently, I would say right now. But yeah, I think that's definitely possible. Any other questions and comments here? Yeah, I think this is a good point here from Mark. On pace for 96 wins without your number 1 starter all year. Yeah, without Justin Steele, without Shota since May 4th. The fact that I think while it's fair to be frustrated, with what we've seen at times with the Cubs, I do think like now that we're halfway through the season, I think from a big picture perspective, like we all kind of have to take a step back and be like, you are on pace for 96 wins without Justin Steele and missing Shota for a long chunk of the season. That's all very positive. That's all very, very positive for this team. Ian Happ missed a good chunk of time this year. Porter Hodge has obviously missed a bunch of time. Miguel Amaya has missed a bunch of time, and hopefully we'll be back around the All-Star break. But yet the Cubs kind of just keep finding a way to win games. So even though this recent stretch is frustrating, I think, and fairly frustrating up until these last 2 games versus the Cardinals, the big picture to me is still that the Cubs are on pace for 96 wins, and mostly have done it without their 2 best pitchers on this team. That is absolutely impressive. All right, again, Sam will be with you guys tomorrow night on the POSTCAST show. I will be back on Saturday and Sunday as I get to see the Cubs play in person here in Houston. So thank you for watching. Remember, hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel as well anywhere you find your podcast on Apple and Spotify. Talk to you guys on Saturday.